Salute to the fam. You already know it's popping. Salute to all my twins. Atlantis Indigenous Radio. I already know 9 p.m. every Thursday. 2rawfortv.tv. If you in the building, it's an absolute blessing. We got an amazing build tonight. Before I get into that, of course, make sure you subscribe to 2rawfortv.tv. Go ahead and get a paid membership. Think the highest paid membership, $5.99. That's nothing, for you every month. Support something great, and make sure that you listen to all the great content creators on 2rawfortv.tv, especially my brother. My brother that's coming up next, 2rawfortv.tv. 2rawfortv. Atlantis Indigenous Radio. Got some on my lip right there. At 2rawfortv at 11. Coming up next is gonna be a fire broadcast. Got the a beautiful sister that's exposing they fake healthcare system. Yes, exposing a fake healthcare system. And make sure you tune in, because that's gonna be off the chain. I'm doing two things at once, so I'm working the phone too. So just in case y'all wonder, so I gotta work the phone right now too. A little Mercury retrograde situations happen. So and make sure you check out every other content creator on 2rawfortv.tv. Courtney Omega and them got some great content coming out as well this Friday, tomorrow. So make sure you just in the building, man, checking out everybody that's coming with that fire on 2rawfortv.tv exclusive. You feel me? So what we going into tonight is dealing with the disrespect of colonial Thanksgiving. Absolutely, man. Colonial Thanksgiving is a disrespect, and we changing the frequency of today. It's beautiful that my brother put up on a post the natives, them putting out today as a national mourning day. That shit weak. Nah, the autochthonous, the aboriginal, the indigenous, I'm talking about us, original people, misnomered as black people. We gave what's known of as today the Native Americans, or the red men. We gave them their culture. Yeah, just like we civilized the whole motherfucking world and gave them culture. You feel what I'm talking about? So understand, we changing the frequency. That morning day, that shit lame too. Indigenous Memorial Day, just giving thanks and praises to all the ancestors that did and still do. Remember, you're an African American because you denationalized. That means you went through a genocide, a Holocaust. You going through that shit now. Yeah, why you gonna see as we go in today on History and Heritage again, why you not taught this type of stuff in school about the origins of Thanksgiving? How the Pilgrims in the area of what's known as Massachusetts, around that area of today, Delaware, that area, had tricked the indigenous peoples of the area that normally you're dealing with Lenape or Lenape territory up there, and slaughtered our ancestors in that region. I'm from a whole different region, man. We Yamazi, that cat. So our bloodline been going to war with the colonizer. Straight maroon bloodline. We chopping heads off these colonizers. We wasn't playing no games, but we wasn't no sit down and we already knew disease, bow and arrow on a motherfucking bow and arrow, swords on a motherfucking ass. So we already knew the deal. We could smell the filth 1,000 miles away. you can literally spell the fifth on Pilgrims and Colonial genetics because of their genetic stock of where they come from. And when they sweat, you already know wet dog type of smell and funk. And so even back then, it was even stanker. You could smell them a mile away. And so I'm gonna get straight into the video that I want to play. And while we waiting to pull up video number one, we're gonna also I'm gonna be discussing my first couple of shows that I first did on right on here, TooRawForTV.tv, Atlantis Indigenous Radio. It was dealing with the Panther Portal, so we're gonna be going into that as well. Yep, pulling up. Let's see. All right, so waiting on him to pull that up. But yeah, we're gonna be reviewing my first couple shows on here because it was extremely important that y'all understand astronomical intelligence.
This is a turkey, a symbol of the US holiday called Thanksgiving. But the true story behind that holiday isn't what many people in the US are taught. If you grew up in the US, the myth that you probably learned is that English settlers and indigenous people shared a friendly harvest meal in 1621. But that version leaves out almost everything that actually happened. The story usually begins with English colonists arriving in modern day Massachusetts. They were unprepared for the winter, so indigenous people showed them how to plant corn and other crops. Then the settlers invite their indigenous neighbors to a feast to celebrate their first harvest. But that's not the real story. The truth is, autumn harvest traditions didn't come from English settlers. It was already a part of life for many tribes, including the Wampanoag, the indigenous community that lived on that land long before the settlers arrived. At the same time the first Thanksgiving appears in US history books, English settlers were stealing land and crops and spreading deadly diseases that devastated indigenous communities. By 1621, diseases brought by Europeans had killed over 90% of the native people along the United States' present day East Coast. But even after that loss, indigenous groups managed to rebuild themselves to a point where settlers began to see their strength as a threat. By 1637, in what's now Connecticut, colonists were fighting the Pequot Nation for control of trade. That year, settlers launched a massive attack on a Pequot village, killing men, women, and children, and burning people alive as they tried to escape. Between 400 and 700 Pequot people were killed in about an hour. After winning the Pequot War, the Massachusetts Bay Colony Governor John Winthrop declared a day of Thanksgiving. Some historians point to this event as the first Thanksgiving, but the US wouldn't make Thanksgiving a national holiday until 1863. Now, in the centuries that followed, settlers continued to seize land, enslave indigenous people, and carry out violent campaigns of genocide, forced removal, and assimilation, often in the name of God and civilization. And that's why many indigenous people don't consider Thanksgiving a day of gratitude. Since 1970, they've observed a national day of mourning. Each year, many indigenous people gather in Plymouth, Massachusetts, the same place the English landed in 1620, to remember their ancestors and to honor the millions of indigenous people killed by colonizers over generations. So next time you think about turkey on Thanksgiving, remember the holiday's racist history and the true story indigenous communities have been keeping alive for generations.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful short clip of what most people understand as Thanksgiving. It could be her understanding could be greater, but I'm gonna help the people out with that today. Because all right, so it's another question that I had on Instagram. Pull up my Instagram real quick. This was by a beautiful sister, uh, Talia, and she asked when I sent her this, right? I told her I was going to answer it on the show. Um, she said, "How you know I'm indigenous? I could have been from Africa." Yeah, that's you know, you normally get this. Any brother and sister that's pushing our true political identity, because when you use the term indigenous, autochthonous, or aboriginal, different things like that, those are just political ways of saying that, of saying original man, original woman. You know, you are the original people of the landmass. Just solis and just sanguinis. You know, you get your rights by the land and bloodline. You feel me? And only misnomered black people can claim that. So you know, it was like I say, a little misconfusion as far as her describing a lot of what you would perceive as the red man native as indigenous. They not indigenous. Did they come here before the Pilgrim white? What we would consider white? They're not white either. We went over that in plenty classes, in as well as on this broadcast that the original white dealt with a status that our ancestors created. They turned that into a gang, a racial identity gang. So they ain't even white. But what you would perceive as the so-called white American, were the natives here before them? Hell yeah, they were definitely here before them. But when those, which I would perceive as like came across the Bering Strait, Asian natives, um, they're not indigenous. They met us coming across that goddamn Bering Strait. And for the ones that we couldn't civilize, because we chopped their heads too, it's on the last show that I did showing the Supreme Dark Lord, the Naga Kukulkan. Yeah, he had one of those, like what you would perceive as a red man, native, and holding him by the hair, holding him by the hair, just showing you the wars that we had prior to um, the colonial pilgrim uh, European stock of coming through. You had the Asian native stock that came through that we war with the ones who we couldn't civilize. The ones who we could civilize, that's where you get your teepee. Them making teepee. They made teepees from us being mound builders. You feel me? Pyramid builders. And some of the oldest on the planet right over here in the Americas. You feel me? So to her question, how you know I'm not African? For one, man, that can go deep. that can go deep. We never called that continent Africa, the indigenous. It's well known that one of its indigenous names was Alkebulan, Morris maps, etc. Of that landmass being called Alkebulan. It's interesting that when it became Africa, it got divided up and colonizers really took control over that. So from our knowledge, it was Leo Africanus, who was not indigenous man that they named Africa from. But neither here nor there. I'm not tripping off. But that is interesting though when y'all look into it, because it's coins with a pilgrim looking man named Leo Africanus, where they claim that Africa is named after. But so how do I know that she's not African? Even if she was, just say, indigenous Alkebulan or indigenous African, do you see how I put indigenous in front of that and understand that indigenous is a political, a divine political identity for original people? Yeah, it applies to misnomered Africans, and plenty Africans today are going to have to pick up that anyway. Elon Musk says he's a South African. How do you distinguish yourself from a South African like Elon Musk? You say you were indigenous African. Stop playing with me. Stop playing. All right. Now I love her. I'm not just just speaking on her. She's beautiful. And I'm just speaking on just the agitation of our people being so goddamn foolish, goddamn ignorant, man. That shit got to stop. And over here in Atlantis Indigenous Radio, y'all already know we stopped that foolishness. So we gonna play this second video as well. Gonna keep it flowing with it. So this second video is going to go into more of understanding our history and heritage over here in the Americas, and how you should not be degrading yourself. Listen, no other people. If you see how the pilgrims that call themselves Jews go hard on Kanye, just for Kanye going in on them, what Kanye speaks a lot of truth against them, man. But they still don't play no games with you disrespecting what they claiming as their culture. That ain't even really their culture. That's some deep shit. It's not even their culture. They stealing that shit, right? They're fake. I call them pilgrims that call themselves Jews. It's a stolen legacy. But every other group of people, you can't disrespect them like that. Now, the reason that the U.S. still disrespects Black Americans like that, yes, I'm specifically saying the Thanksgiving shit is a disrespect to misnomer Black Americans when they know the heritage. Is because of our position right now politically. So he gonna go in. See if we can blow the video up. Yeah, so that's important to understand why the video get going. I'm gonna keep building. Is that they disrespect a lot of us in front of our face because we denationalize, disenfranchise, ignorant as hell of our true history and heritage.
The Washington Nation and our Royal Highness Empress right behind us. Today, I'm gonna let him take over, and he's gonna talk about this amazing nation, the Washington Nation. We are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right now. So, you guys, I'm gonna let you take over.
Okay. Well, the Washington Nation is a broad topic too, and there's many aspects to it. You know, the Washington Nation has been around since the beginning of time. It's really related to Atlanta area, right here in Louisiana. Baton Rouge is probably at the lower end of the Washington, but the Washington can be actually visited. It's a place. So these people say I'm a Washington. Tell people I'm a Washington Moor. What does that mean? First of all, we're talking about Moor in terms of an indigenous person. Moor spelled with the U, M-U-U-R, Washington Moor. And the Washington is a region in what is called Southeast America, Southeast United States today, and it extends all the way up to Canada. So the Washington River, if you saw on the map, would be one of the first major rivers that's a tributary off of the Mississippi River. You have the Washington River, you have the Red River, you have the Arkansas River, but if you go along the Mississippi River, all the way up, you have the Tennessee River, the Missouri River, the Illinois River, the Ohio River. All these tributaries are branches of what is known as the Mississippi River, or the father of all rivers. And along each one of these tributaries, you will find evidence of the ancient mound building culture. And the Washington Nation is the root, the mother culture of the mound builders throughout this land called the United States of America, down into Mexico and up into Canada. You will find evidence of an ancient mound building culture. It was not hunter-gatherer, but a highly sophisticated, well-organized system of nations. So the Washington Nation, the Imperial Washington Nation, is the headquarters of the whole empire. Within the Washington Empire, you have many nations. Any nation that is considered to be a Native American nation, or what the government calls American Indians, even though these people are not from India, our people are indigenous. And any one of you called indigenous, native to the Americas, comes out of the mound building culture. There's a lot of debates around the world about what was the mother culture in the Americas, who was the first civilization in America. And even though everyone's talked about the Washington back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, in about 2004, 2005, there was a discovery down in Peru, a place called Corral. And the world went wild. Said, here's the oldest town in America. We found the mother culture in America. It's down in Peru, and there were different archaeologists coming out of the United States going down there, working with Peruvian archaeologists. And they came with this big theory that the first city in the Americas was a place called Parral in Norte Chico, Peru, and it was dated to 4,600 years ago, 2600 BC. In spite of the fact, we know right here in the United States, you have dozens of sites dating far older than 2600 BC. Right here in Baton Rouge alone, you have several sites dating in excess of 5000 BC. Throughout Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, all the way up into Minnesota, you'll find evidence of mound cities, cultural centers that included large earthen mounds and other earthen animal effigies and other structures being built by civilizations that predate not only the mounds in South America, Peru, they predate the existence of Europe and Africa. The word Africa and Europe didn't come into existence until 500 years after you find mounds and mound civilizations in which come up.
Everybody's home. That was fire, man. That was one of the elders. Umar Shabazz Bey, man, one of our great elders, man. Got some of the best Washita honey on the planet, man. That's one of our connects to our honey, man. Salute to the elder. Was right there with the Empress Vertice of that Washita. Don't act like y'all don't see her on that divine ancestors wall. Stop playing. Stop playing with us, man. After Prophet Noble Jew Ali, you had the Empress to come through and drop the motherfucking knowledge. Undisputable. In her book, Return of the Ancient Ones. I already gave y'all that in other podcasts to go ahead and get the goddamn book. Get the book for y'all that's asking how you don't know I'm African. How you don't know your goddamn indigenous heritage over here? Huh? You know all about the mother's land. I've been told y'all that, but you don't know about the father's land. Come on now. Imbalance. And you wonder why is not a lot of prosperity amongst our folks. Drop that imbalanced shit. You feel me? You know about one aspect of your ancestry, know about all that shit. Stop playing. So Empress Vertice, also the great elder, put out a shorter pamphlet, because Empress Vertice book about like 500 pages. She dropping on how that bullshit Louisiana purchase. Them colonizers only purchased a damn barrack. And they lied to y'all that they purchased this vast amount of land. Nah, that was under Christian doctrine of discovery that they stole that shit. Yeah. Now you stuff your mouth with a fucking turkey. Don't even know that where we genetically modified that bird, the turkey. In Turkey. Amongst the Turkish Empire. The Turkish Empire came from the Moorish Empire. It's in its original form. So he go deep on even why they even use that bird. It was definitely a sacred bird up in our indigenous societies. And it deals with you and your inheritance. I just dropped that on you. So understand the disrespect that the colonizers still do right in front of our folks' face, but our folks are ignorant to our inheritance, our Aboriginal inheritance, that the brother just so eloquently dropped. Empress Vertice of the Washita. Go look up the beautiful Empress Turtle that Washita. Yeah, she was a tortoise empress amongst many tortoise empresses, man, that put in work. But after Prophet Noble Drew Ali dropping it in like the 20s that we was indigenous to the Americas and to this whole world, especially claiming Moorish heritage, that's like an imperial indigenous identity, right? The Empress Vertice came through and really, man, she was the one who's the foundation of today, where you get all of your indigenous movements, your Indian movements, your Moorish movements, where it has elevated today. So patriarch, matriarch, man, giving thanks to our ancestors for understanding our inheritance right here and now. And I want to go into too on where we from though. Yeah, so that's gonna be important, understanding your own bloodline, man. My grandma, my beautiful grandma, 104. She was the first one to tell us that we was indigenous. You know, we had misnomered Indian blood in us. You know, we was misnomered Cherokee, but that's a misnomer. That's not the indigenous name at all. It's just like if you was to say you Olmec or you Mayan, that's not no fucking indigenous name. A lot of these Cherokee, Choctaw, all of that's not indigenous. Those came later. And understand where you from, because most of the misnomered Cherokee is from the video that's about to play video 3 in a minute, is from the Yamazi, or what's known as Yemisi. Salute to Dr. York. He had brung forth that information as well with the Nuwapian Yemisi Moors. And understand why they put more to their name, because we are imperial people. We are imperial clan, man. Nobility. Rulership, you can find us all over this planet. So yeah, we're about to get into this this third video. Real important for our people to understand this indigenous warrior inheritance. We can't hear it, the volume. The volume. Is it just on my end, or let's see, hold on. Is down the Mercury retrograde function. Yeah, if you can hear me, we can't hear, at least I can't hear the video. I don't know if y'all can hear the video. Oh, all right. Well, everybody can hear it. I just can't hear it. Can you? All right. Yeah. So that was beautiful. It was Mercury retrograde on my end because I couldn't hear it, but it went into the misnomer Yemisi, but what we know of as Yemazi, the divine maroon, that's your warrior nobility clans, whether that was Stella Z, which is misnomered as Stella G, which later on got reconquered and relabeled as Cherokee, Catawba, these indigenous tribes, warrior tribes that was not playing no fucking games with the colonizers. All of us wasn't getting, caught up with smallpox and sitting at the dinner table. What we from a different breed in that cat nobility bloodline. We put them arrows up to that goddamn cop. We smelled they stank asses 1,000 miles away. Now how did we get caught up in the condition that we in now? Of course, a Negro traded on us. You feel me? That's always how we got defeated. A Negro traded on us. And in the book, when you get the book, Empress Vertice, when you get the book, Empress Vertice of the Washita, Return of the Ancient Ones, she said the white man and the red man went against us, traded against the indigenous, autochthonous, dark-skinned or black natives, Yamazi, Washita, etc. They all went against us. And of course you had Negro traders. That was the ones who were civilized tribes. Yeah. If they civilized your ass, that mean that you was a good Negro. You conformed to Christianity and you was a colonial, you was down with the colonialism. So you was the Yakubian tribes of that time. So it's important to understand our inheritance, man, our Aboriginal inheritance over here in the West. Man, that is supreme importance because it's like a holistic outlook that you get. If you done got all the African that you can get, mama's land, well, goddamn it, it's time for you to learn the father's land. It's time for you to learn your father's inheritance and stand up to your goddamn greatness because it was, man, it's magnificent shit over here that's just not even duplicated on the other side of the world, man. And think about this on how deep the divine warfare was over here in the West. The colonizers didn't know about us until what? Until the collapse of the Moorish Empire in Europa around the end of the 1400s to 1500s is when they found out about us over here in the West. That just told you the superior military knowledge that our ancestors had over here. That divine intelligence that we knew how to protect ourselves. So it's time to get back into that greatness. And first and foremost, you got to understand when the colonizer is utilizing technology on you with this Thanksgiving, because it's very disrespectful. And I'm not knocking nobody going to visit family and seeing family and communing with family. That's a beautiful thing, but just understand, especially being if you were like a what they call a black sheep. Remember, we changed that outlook. You are a black goat. You are a black goat. Yeah, you feel me? And we already broke down what black deal with. We're not talking about no colonizers definition of black. The colonizer dumb as hell, and they didn't create no language on this damn planet. We have indigenous dictionaries, so we define our own reality. And that is power. That is power. And y'all already know I didn't get an opportunity to recap the Panther Portal Part 1, Part 2. But I'm going to do that on another broadcast and see if I can pull up those shows directly off here. But y'all already know I was pushing P on that. Y'all already know what P deal with. One aspect of P does deal with power. First aspect definitely dealing with purpose. So understand that, and I look forward to my twin when he dropped that musical tune towards that. You know, I'll let him announce that, but I'll let him announce that, but that's gonna be fire. So I just want the family to understand that it's great to visit family and commune with family, but you need to know when people disrespecting you right in front of your face. You don't need to be participating in your own disrespect right in front of your face. You don't need to be ignorant talking about, hey man, I'm African or some stupid shit like that, not understanding your full inheritance. You feel me? Africans, our African brothers and sisters, if you're going to call them that, use indigenous names too. And then they have to use the term indigenous. Like I said, Elon Musk, come on, he said he African. So that's African, like, come on, stop playing. It's plenty so-called white Africans, or pilgrim Africans. Stop playing. Y'all got to use indigenous too. This is a divine inheritance for all original people. So we take back what's rightfully ours and get out of the colonial constructs that destroy us. Even the very food that we eat at this time frame. We don't know how to culinary alchemy for ourselves, like make healthy food for ourselves. It's all lard in the like pork in the damn cornbread you're making now. That's crazy. You're using Jif pork cornbread, destroying yourself. All of that is due to colonization. So it's powerful knowing yourself. We are the Washita. Salute to the elder Shabazz, Umar Shabazz Bey, for dropping that for the people. Simple pamphlet that you can check out. Understand your indigenous inheritance. Understand your grandma, your granddaddy was not crazy if they told you was Blackfoot, Cherokee, or Choctaw, or any of those tribes. They may have said misnomer names, but they was on point. They knew that we was indigenous to this land. So that's extremely important. And understand that what we have here, sassafras root. We got indigenous farms where we literally pick this stuff ourselves. And then right here, because everybody need to get in class, especially the chocolate goddesses. Right here is a natural sassafras says ginger. So where they get ginger ale and root beer from. I combined the two. We made a healthy concoction, a natural soda. Stop playing though, man. We have to get into doing for self. Vote for self, do for self. That's what you're going to learn over here in Atlantis Indigenous Radio. That unify under victimhood, that shit dead. I'm not unifying with none of you that's of my bloodline under victimhood. Miss me with that bullshit. That's why this ain't no day of mourning. Get that goofy shit out of here. You see, we gave them culture, not the opposite way around. I don't play that shit. Ain't none of them telling me what the fuck to do or how to do it. We tell them what it is. This is, a divine indigenous Memorial Day. You feel what I'm saying? Where we put in work for the greatness of the warriors that stood up for us. That's why we still here. In the flesh. Is some great warriors that stood up, and you see the greatness in front of you. So make sure y'all in class. And I mentioned too the astronomical intelligence, my first two broadcasts, because it dealt with that. So we coming up on a winter solstice. Man, hit me up for the winter solstice. Winter solstice make one of the most powerful alignments of the year. You think they formulated Jesus' birthday around that time for nothing? Stop playing with me, man. All of this is indigenous knowledge that they're using against your ass. They're using low-level magic or low-level witchcraft, which they accuse you of using against your ass. And you just as ignorant as hell don't know. You just enjoying your damn fat back, and you just don't know. But I'm going to help you out. And I'm just messing with y'all. I know ain't nobody listening to my show is enjoying that. But if you is, hey, man, you already know that's just divine medicine that you need to swallow to get rid of that, that parasite. Because you got parasites if you eating pork. That's just easy. That's just easy. That's why that was banned. You don't eat no damn pig. So that's important for us to know those different type of things. Get in class. I have the Chocolate Goddess classes on Friday, each Friday. So just hit me up personally, DM me. On here, 2rawfortv.tv at Prince Turtle, the Big Headed Alchemist, or on Instagram, T, the Big Headed Alchemist, Turtle, the Big Headed Alchemist. You already know what's popping. And y'all see how I spell it on the screen. And on Tuesdays is the class for the brothers, man, where we go in on us building Uma. And the same thing for the goddesses on Friday, building Uma. Get with me personally. This alignment of this solstice, supremely powerful, man. One of the most powerful forces in the universe that we already dropped here is it makes that alignment during the solstice. Like I said, why do you think your Jesus character is born during that time? Yeah, this all indigenous knowledge and wealth and inheritance that this is all of our Aboriginal inheritance. And that's what Atlanta's Indigenous Radio is here for. We bring it back to the people. So salute to the God, salute to all my twins, salute to the fam for being here with us so far. We got some more great shows coming up real soon. So salute to everybody for tuning in, and be wise, more love. We out.